I was up at 4 a.m. to train at 6:30 a.m. because I was so excited. Here's my first rep. Very proud of myself, 8.11 meters per second. Second rep, what I did different to go faster was get my hands up. That was the cue that I changed, but cues are different for everyone. It worked for me, and it worked even better on this third rep where I hit a season velocity PR of 8.53 meters per second. That's over 19 miles an hour. I'm going to take these wins as they come because I have a little bit of Achilles tendonitis that I am trying to sort through. I believe it's an error that's kind of propagated through from my inactive left glute. This workout didn't aggravate it, but the last one did a little bit. To be honest, I have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to programming, and I'm really bad at keeping a schedule. So I'm consulting with a coach to get my training figured out. There's a level of guilt and shame that I feel reaching out to a coach because I've already spent 2 years trying to figure out how to train on my own. And it's really embarrassing to admit that to somebody who has spent their whole career training Olympians at the highest of levels.
My name is Evan Gregory. I'm a graduate of UCF, Sport and Exercise Science. I've been with Pure Athletics and Adiz here for about a decade. April will be 9 years. I've also worked with USATF as a regional videographer, and I've been a personal friend of Noah Lyles.
It's really judgment that I'm afraid of, and thinking that I'm not worthy of the level of attention and intelligent progression that is applied to all these guys that are performing extremely well. A lot of it comes from a lack of attention as an athlete when I was younger. I was a collegiate swimmer and a swimmer growing up. I was never the fastest, and the coaches always played favorites. I always felt invisible to my coaches and to a lot of my peers. Seems to have carried on to this point in time where, those feelings come up again. Part of this whole thing and getting out of your comfort zone and trying new activities is facing those fears, finding the right people to support you as you grow as a person. We'll see how the call goes with Evan, and we will see.
Sam, how's it going, man?
How's it going, Coach E?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Yeah, I've seen you on the Reddit all the time, and yeah, I was really curious what you had to offer with your coaching services.
Absolutely. So I take it, if you've seen me active on Reddit, if you've had a chance to look at the website, you've got just a general sense of kind of my experience and exposure in the sport and everything like that. You had brought up Jeff, who's a great example of somebody that's like thriving, working with me and everything like that. What we'll do during these meetings when we meet is just take a look at training footage, kind of in a similar format to how we're meeting right now. So say, for instance, uh, you would just give me a set of training footage just like this, and we would start to break it down. It sounds to me like you have quite a bit of experience in the sport. You described yourself as a very numbers-oriented guy as far as like tracking your footage with the force velocity profiling and everything like that, and developed kind of an algorithm here, or not an algorithm, but so much as uh, like a biomechanical
Like
like
a software, yeah.
yeah.
It analyzes your video, yeah.
Is it something that you have to preset the metrics? Like, do you have to tether your model to yourself and then kind of run it through from there, or is it something that auto populates?
So yeah, you just upload any video, and as long as they have the cones in there, those act as markers for the distance, and then it can tell all the metrics because it just reads whoever's running in the frame. It just maps the
Okay.
when their feet hit the ground and as their body travels through the frame.
Okay. You don't work with anyone from USATF, do you, by any chance?
No, I'm completely independent. I'm like under the radar.
Because USATF is working on something exactly similar,
Oh, really?
like exactly similar. I don't really know how far along they are with it. I'm also a videographer with USATF,
Yep.
and so part of what they're doing is exactly what we see kind of in this iPhone video that you developed. All of those tools just direct training, whether we need to open your stride up or like like if we got to a point where we just found out that we haven't developed enough power, I would
Yeah,
say.
it's more like trends over time versus,
Mhm.
you know, right in this session.
Exactly. Exactly. I would say the easiest thing to look back is maybe his first week here. where I typically break up the sessions into what I would consider neuromuscularly intensive or general in a sense. Basically, through all the research and work I've done with like Vince Anderson, not even with my time with Coach B, Lance Brahman, uh, it has convinced me that really we can only do workouts at this intensity once every 48 hours. And I've seen it on the pro level. I've seen it pretty much at every level work. And then everything else in here is really dedicated to our secondary and third objectives, which can be, uh, you know, lactic buffering and lactic tolerance, depending on your event, uh, general anaerobic fitness, recovery, like the secretion of growth hormone, growth serum hormone, and stuff like that, as well as speed endurance, possibly in the future, depending on how everything shakes out. But you'll see here at the beginning of the season, I'm going Monday and Thursday. But
Hmm.
then as we get closer to competition, that's actually going to flip to Tuesday, Friday.
Okay, so that was over the course of 3 months before you started to
Yep.
get more intensive with the activities.
Not necessarily intensive, but when they fall in the week. So when we're first coming into the season, I want to give his body a clear indication first and foremost that we're sprinting. So as soon as we show up as fresh as we can Saturday after Saturday and Sunday, we're getting out and sprinting. But that's because at this time of the year, Saturday is not much of an important day. Now we fast forward to, let's say, the 1st of January, and now some of those Saturdays turn into races. So what we need to do between the beginning of the season and when we need to race is flip some of these days. And let me find like a good example because he's like in the height of racing right now. But for instance, this wouldn't be a good one right here. But as we get closer to racing, it's much easier for your body to be prepared on a on a Saturday if it's used to sprinting on a Friday, kind of in a circadian rhythm type fashion. It's just what I found. But I guess that would just go to show you how many little things I'm kind of considering in all of these revolving layers that kind of make up all these decisions that go into like programming and everything like that. But yeah, I guess it really just depends on like what your goals would be. I assume you've been training for quite a bit.
Yeah,
Like,
it's been like a year and a half trying to do it on my own, and it's been incredibly frustrating because it's like, oh, I'll hit a good spot for a bit, and then injury, I get Achilles tendonitis or something else, and I have to rest for like a few weeks, a month, and yeah, I need a little bit more guidance here.
absolutely, absolutely. Uh, Believe it or not, like most of the help that I give people is helping them see that a lot of what people have had you maybe do in the past, or maybe a lot of the resources online, uh, they just do things in the wrong order, essentially, if that makes sense. Like they just give the body all kinds of mixed signals as far as adaptation goes. They do things in a way that may make them vulnerable. Like for instance, like adding speed endurance when it's like not appropriate or when it's just not advised, or in the gym. Like a lot of people uh, have a lifting schedule that is completely opposite of the track schedule, and they end up like mixing up a lot of the messages or adaptations, or lifting on a day where they could be combining that with another session so that they don't ruin a future session. There's just little examples of those things, but uh, that alone makes a huge difference for people. Just kind of ironing out everything that they're doing into something a little bit more tolerable. Do you have like a prospective start date in mind? Is it something that you would like roll into at the beginning of February or Monday, or something that you even want to get kind of rolling into the end of the week or anything like that?
Yeah, we could do Monday.
Okay.